Cities have enormous potential to improve well-being. They can be regenerative, living environments that enhance both human and more than human well-being. To fully realise that potential, we'll need to actively transition from our current polluting, commuting, car-centric cities to an urbanism that puts social and ecological vitality at the centre of urban policy and design. And that transition's already happening. We're already changing to a new old kind of urbanism that's socially and ecologically connected. We're beginning to incorporate the sociability of ancient walkable cities with an enhanced ecological capacity to regenerate local nature, to generate local energy, food and water, to produce and recycle materials and remediate waste into new ecological resource. As we develop these new old strategies, our cities will become increasingly regenerative as they actively contribute to their local ecosystems. At this time of converging social and ecological crises, cities can be important catalysts for the system transitions we know need to be made. So what does it mean for cities to be regenerative? How can they actively enhance the mauri or holistic well-being of te taiao me ngā tangata, of planet and people? How can cities enable thriving social, cultural and ecological systems? We know that our cities and wider culture need to make change in 5 key urban systems. We need to move from ecological degeneration to ecological regeneration, from carbon-based energy to zero-carbon energy, from linear take-make-waste economic systems to circular regenerative economies, and from socially, ecologically and culturally disconnected communities to highly connected and resource-filled communities. And at the finer grain of the city, our buildings and built environments need to shift from being ecologically unsustainable to being regenerative as they generate new resource and enhance social and ecological well-being. Our Ngā Tohu Ora Urban Wellbeing Compass visualises this complex urban system change as a wellbeing centred whole. And these transitions are already happening. Cities are already starting to integrate ecologically regenerative, nature-based systems such as sponge spaces, flood-resilient wetlands and rain gardens. And in terms of urban energy, cities are starting to put in place zero-carbon energy systems. At the level of the economy, businesses and industry are starting to shift from linear to more circular and regenerative economy practices that aim for parakore, zero waste, or use biodegradable or low-carbon materials. And at the urban level, change is happening as communities and neighbourhoods are being designed for walkability and social and ecological connection. Finally, at the smaller scale, our buildings are beginning to integrate all of these larger system changes into structures with living green roofs, locally generated energy, and lower carbon materials. So let's look at how cities can bring well-being in more detail across these 5 key urban scales. Regenerating urban ecosystems has powerful effects on the well-being of whenua and whānau, land and people. If we make our cities more green and blue, with more trees and more healthy water environments, we increase the carbon sink capacity of that city, enabling it to draw down more carbon, addressing fossil fuel-driven climate change. By increasing local biodiversity, we can improve the life support capacity, the productivity, resilience and health of the ecosystems we all rely on. And with green-blue sponge city approaches, using trees, wetlands and rain gardens, for example, we can increase urban resilience to floods. With urban trees and green shading strategies, we can increase resilience to extreme heat events. We know that natural environments have huge positive effects on our human well-being. Research shows that access to green and blue space can reduce depression and stress and improve brain acuity and attention. Our breathing slows in greener spaces, leading to a calming response as our parasympathetic rest-digest nervous system switches on. We can heal quicker when exposed to natural environments. Urban nature spaces, parks or community gardens for example, can also be important sites of social and cultural connection, which also brings well-being. How we generate energy can either harm or improve the well-being of both people and planet. Carbon-based fossil fuel energy harms the well-being of planet and people as it increases atmospheric carbon, destabilising climate. Acting quickly to transition to a zero-carbon energy system for both buildings and transport will bring with it a range of well-being benefits as carbon emissions and other associated pollutants and particulates decrease. Also, a transition to zero-carbon energy enables a local and distributed approach where power can be generated on solar panels on the roofs of buildings. Having building-based batteries builds energy resilience, particularly when storm events disrupt the national grid. Likewise, transitioning from a linear take-make-waste economy to a circular bioeconomy will bring huge well-being effects for people and planet. Non-biodegradable microplastics pollute our cities and the entire planet now, from the deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountains. Many urban waterways are polluted with toxic chemicals. Transitioning to biodegradable and non-toxic materials is an active strategy for human and ecosystem well-being. Zero-waste systems such as composting, recycling, repurposing encourage a circular resource-to-resource approach that reduces our impacts on ecological life support systems. How we design our urban relationships, form and infrastructures can have huge well-being effects, influencing how socially connected we are, how much energy we use, or how active we are. Research shows that creating walkable or bikeable neighbourhoods activates social, cultural and ecological connections that can strongly enhance our well-being. Staying local, with local access to work, education and services, reduces the need for commuting, thereby reducing transport energy expenditure, stressful commute times and inactivity. Third spaces like libraries, marae, cafes, parks and gardens can enable the community interactions which are good for our mental and physical health. Our buildings can integrate all these larger system changes for enhanced social and ecological well-being. Buildings can be designed for biophilia so that they strongly connect to nature and the exterior. They can incorporate living systems like green roofs and flood-resilient swales and wetlands. They can generate local zero-carbon energy with rooftop solar, use circular, low-carbon and renewable low-toxin materials, and they can encourage well-being from social connection, designing for intergenerational or co-housing scenarios. As we design with well-being in mind, we can take advantage of the co-benefits and synergies that occur with a holistic well-being-led approach. For example, as you increase biodiversity and regenerate ecosystems, addressing the current extinction crisis, you also increase the capacity of ecosystems to bank carbon, thus contributing to addressing the climate crisis. Also, as you increase access to urban ecosystems, you increase human well-being in proven ways. Our cities have enormous potential to actively increase our own human well-being, as well as the well-being of the ecosystems which sustain our lives. Wellbeing or Māori-centred cities can be designed and developed to build urban resilience and the social, economic and ecological vitality so needed at this time of change. Mauri oho, mauri tu, mauri ora, kia tātou katoa. Haumi e, hui e, tae ki e.